Way to go, libs. Years of brainwashing young people into thinking they're doomed over things like climate change is seriously screwing up an entire generation.
Thousands of people are dying. You're going to see more mass migrations, more diseases.
More severe droughts, more floods, seas rising, temperatures rising.
That's what's boiling the oceans, creating these atmospheric rivers and the rain bombs.
We have an obligation to future generations to make sure that we have a planet for them to live on.
We're like, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change.
And a poll asks young Democrats how often they'd experienced a certain emotion or problem over the past 2 weeks. Are you ready? 61% said they felt nervous or anxious. 57% said they had trouble relaxing. And 52% reported feeling down and depressed. I never really felt like that when I was that age.
No, you're a remarkable person. You don't worry at all.
Thank you.
Let's just set you aside for a second because
you need depth for that.
You need to be studied in a lab.
Ignorance is bliss.
The fact is that a lot of those emotions, yes, all of us have nerves and anxiety because that's how you live. That's called survival. And you learn how to deal with that. It's called resiliency. But somehow we have turned this into a yes, we can country to a no, you can't, and it's not your fault. And I do think there is an ideological difference. So conservatives for a long time, let's just take Ronald Reagan, right? He was mourning in America, waking up on the sunny side of the mountain and so happy. The Democrats and liberals have been more along the lines of mourning in America, right? The doom and gloom, everything's bad, and bad sells, and bad gets you donations, but bad also turns into this. The New York Times reports today, that was yesterday, May 1st, mental health-related visits to emergency rooms by children, teenagers, and young adults soared from 2011 to 2020, and the sharpest increase was for suicide-related visits, and those rose fivefold. So there is an actual horrible effect to all of this.
And the school closures and lockdowns, I'm sure, didn't really help, Greg.
Yeah, but I have to say that America is seen as a bad place on the left and the right. The left would say like it's a hopelessly oppressive place of racism, and on the right it'd be like this place is drowning in wokeism. I'm one of those people. Like I wake up and I read the stuff about like the stuff that's going on in schools. I'm going like, man, I gotta move to like where should I move?
Where?
Australia? I don't know. Anyway. It's so obvious what it is doing to young people. It's adding a whole layer of oppressiveness, and victimhood then becomes a badge, so they never want to achieve anything. And so what you end up with are mobs of white, purple-haired, uglified, miserable, I hate to say it, mostly women. And they're not groomers, they're not boomers, they're doomers. They just look like they're miserable. And you know who did it? TikTok and probably MSNBC, but they're deliberately making themselves reflective of their own misery. It's like they look like they're unhappy, and you can't help them. It's so sad. And that's why I think you're seeing a lot of body dysmorphia, because they're being encouraged. Their misery is being encouraged, and they feel like they're hopeless, so they'll do anything. And they'll be sold a bill of goods in this weird kind of, among kids, the trans kid movement. It's like, no, they're just depressed. They're confused.
Is there a way to help this generation out, Judge?
Yeah, I think, look, they're being coddled. I mean, that's part of the problem. They're being coddled. They're being taken care of by their families. They're being told that you need a safe space. And, feelings and words can trigger all kinds of emotions. That's training. That's behavior that moves from one generation to the next. I mean, it's learned behavior. And so we've got this whole group of young people who don't know what it's like to have to survive on their own. Sure, there are legitimate reasons to be fearful and anxious. I mean, you walk down the street here, you might suffer a carjacking, you might you might be shot by someone in a gang who doesn't know how to shoot because they never went to a range, they just picked up a gun. I mean, there are some legitimate reasons to be depressed, but these kids aren't being taught how to pull themselves out of it, how to survive on their own, how to be tough. And that's why a lot of the conservative young people, they say it's a different breed of kid. And so you'll find more in the commas on the East Coast and the West Coast, and not so much in Middle America, who get on a goddamn who get on a damn tractor and work and don't have time to worry about this nonsense and spend their lives on TikTok.
Get on a darn tractor, Jessica.
Is that the same as a midsize SUV? So 18 to 29-year-olds, and that's what this poll is covering. It would be great to go down to 13-year-olds because that's really where this anxiety is starting, especially with young girls and what's going on in terms of image issues from what they're seeing on social media and feeling absolutely terrible about themselves and developing huge mental health challenges at a young age. But 18 to 29-year-olds share a lot of common fears. A lot of them have to do with school shootings and growing up in a generation that was doing lockdown drills, teen anxiety due to our obsessive emphasis on student achievement is a big piece of this as well, and that's bipartisan. So I don't think that bifurcating it, to Greg's point, people on both sides have the opposing view of how the other one is ruining the country, and that gives them anxiety if they're that politicized at this point. But I worry that this is actually deeper than politics, and that's more disconcerting than any of this. I get it. You know, we work adjacent to politics and we talk about it and represent whatever political point of view. But when you think about how damaged these kids are from such a young age, that's before they even know what a policy position is that they like. They just know that they feel ugly.
But they also think
know
that the
they're
polar
scared.
bears are going to have to swim forever because there won't be any icebergs.
That maybe Al Gore is what they see before they go to bed at night, but
Then they're never going to bed.
I doubt it.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.